So the Bakwena Ba Mogopa community near Ventersdorp will commemorate the 41st anniversary of the forced removal, an event marking over 4 decades since the displacement and disrupted their lives as well as their heritage. The commemoration themed Honoring Our Past, Reclaiming Our Future will take place at the ancestral land in Mogopa village on the 15th of February 2025. The highlight of the event will be a special music performance by the renowned Sun Shah Experiment live performing group, whose vibrant and soulful melodies will reflect the spirit of the resilience and the unity that defines Bakwena Ba Mogopa people. Let's now speak to Kopano More, who's joining us in studio, author and member of the 41st Commemoration Organizing Committee, as well as the Sun Shah. I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Sun Shah or Sun Shah? Sun Shah. Apologies for that. So it's Sun Shah Experiment band members, Buyisiwe, Njoko, as well as Tebogo, Mkhize, who are joining us in studio. Very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So I want to start off here because it's also interesting that you're having this commemoration taking place on the back of what's happening with geopolitics and Donald Trump and the Afrikaners. We had a conversation earlier on with the representative of Aranya. But I want to start off here, Kopan. What happens on the 14th of February, 1984?
Thanks for the question and thanks for having us. And maybe for the benefit of your audience, or your audience as well. I think the viewers at home, I think it's important to understand 3 critical things about the forced removal that happened on the 14th of February. We're talking about a community that it's actually the very last in South Africa in politics that actually were forcefully removed from their land. And it was the very first that actually fought against and actually won within the apartheid government in 1989 at Bloemfontein High Court against that particular situation. And also it is actually the very first to actually receive their land back as a result of that. Now, on the 14th around 2 a.m., if you can just imagine, the police, the military of the then apartheid government flattened the properties, the residences, the clinics, the schools in Mogopa and loaded everybody. So there will be a truck coming in, loading people, and another truck from behind, loading the whatever furniture that it's in the house. And then a bulldozer will come and flatten the whole place. That's pretty much what happened in that particular time. But it's also important to remember that this particular act was supposed to actually happen in November 28 and 27. It couldn't take place because the Americans were now also putting a whole lot of pressure because of Helen Suzman's visit to the Secretary of State in the US. And they had to postpone it. Desmond Tutu, Alan Busag, and many other organizations across the world actually zoomed attention to Bakwena Ba Mogopa. And unfortunately, that day happened, and that's why it's important to commemorate these things, Adrian.
Yeah. There's also an interesting name that keeps on popping up when you do research, and that is Jacob More. Any relation to you at all?
Oh, yes. Jacob More, I think from where we are in as far as what has happened, I think you must understand, you know, the workings of the apartheid government. At the time, when they realized that Bakwena Ba Mogopa were not budging to leave, they even invited the late Lucas Manyane Mangope of Bophuthatswana to come and intervene and try to smooth talk Bakwena out of their land. And they refused completely. And that when then they started to come into the divide and rule. They started to buy and smooth talk and doing all these sort of promises. So what Jacob really was, you know, may his soul rest in peace, was really a victim of a state that was going to make sure that they use whatever means necessary to divide, to bribe, and unfortunately, yes, he was one of those victims, at least historically speaking, yes.
Yeah. So when you read on the history of what took place, especially, and you just think about some of the sound that would come out of the bulldozers, the echoing sound of the bulldozers as they crush against the brick and mortar. But you can also think about the sound of perhaps maybe the children crying, the wailing and the so forth that's taking place. How don't you incorporate that in music, and how you perform and tell the story of people who lost what essentially is a pride?
Yeah, that's such a very beautiful question. Because as an artist, you need to really tap into exactly what was happening. When I heard the story, when Abuti Kopano did say, told us, because I was fortunate to be in the land in Ventersdorp a couple of weeks ago, and he told us the story, and it really hit. And what was also incredible was that as a Sankla experiment, we've been writing such music for quite some time, in such a way that when he told us the story, we had two particular songs that just really resonated the very same energy. It's a recent song that you just did, just recently wrote. It's called The Door Don't Knock. Imagine in the apartheid era, that's exactly what happened to the community of Bagope. What happens to them was that at 2 a.m., you don't expect anything to happen. At that time, you're expecting calmness, serenity, you know, even chickens barking, you know. But all of a sudden, people were uprooted. We're just, in Zulu, we say, ba mbuliwe, ba khwitwa, whilst they were still calmly sleeping. And that came in like that. It comes in as a rush. It's like immediately you were able to breathe, but all of a sudden you were like suffocated and can't do anything. What's even more hard is that they wanted to fight, but they had no other way to fight. You know, they had no idea how to do it. And also what also resonates this as well, we have another song called Buyisiwe, written by Sankla Experiment, and it speaks of such incidents whereby as Thina Bantu Abamnyama, we have to wake up and really have to claim and proclaim what is ours, because if we don't, at the end of the day, the ants will have it. Yeah. You know, it's so, so important to teach our youth, because at the end of the day, we all end up there on the ground, and the ants will have to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and Tebogo, sometimes people speak about music as one of those conduits, or even a calabash for that matter, that is able to store our history. Yes. Because many, many years from now, Buyisiwe, you were speaking about writing these two songs. Many, many years from now, these songs may still be played and still be performed, but it's also going to still remind us of what happened back in the days. Yes. Tell us about Sankla Experiment's contribution to how do we tell that story? How do we make sure that it is authentic?
Yes. You know, as Sankla Experiment, when it comes to such situations, we're given a task and we're given a responsibility to be a voice of the lesser. So this is what we have to consider, because music reflects the times, art reflects the times. So we need to be authentic to ourselves, and we need to be authentic to the people we are trying to talk to. We need to look into ourselves and be genuine. So that when the story goes to the people, when the story goes to the audience, it reaches the people at the right time and at the right condition. So we need to just be fully tapped into who we are and where we're from, because we reflect the times. We are given a task and a responsibility to become the voice of a lesser. So yeah, we need to just tap in and be genuine with ourselves and the work at hand and what we are presenting to the people.
Yeah. Tell us, what instrument do you play?
I play bass guitar for the band.
You play the bass guitar?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been doing that for?
I'm quite new with the bass guitar, but I'm primarily a guitarist. I've been playing guitar from, I think, 2008, maybe 9, so. But, you know, in between, I did so many things. I made beats, we made productions, we do studio work. So, yes, I dabble in between many instruments, but I play bass guitar for the band.
You play the bass guitar. Okay, my uncle used to play bass guitar as well. Buyisiwe, what's your contribution in the band?
My contribution, it's the voice, and how the voice comes out from a deep place. When I sing, I don't sing ordinary. I have to tap into that space and be into that situation. And also, there's also another person who really makes my voice a little bit bigger. He doesn't say much, but he moves with the music. His name is Kopano More. He goes around and he explains the music through movement. So it kind of like helps everybody. You know, even for a person who doesn't hear, they get to see and feel the movement of the music through his movement. Right. So that's what we aim to do with what we're going to do on the 15th, and we can't wait for the community to see.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing a bit of your instrument with us? Just a little bit.
No problem.
Just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to count you down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Akshe she, akshe she, akusheshe kuyaphuthuma buyisa umhlaba wokhokho bethu masigabhekile wodliwa matsheke masigabhekile wodliwa matsheke nalala nje nithembeni na thula nje nithembeni na konakele sibambe lapho.
Kopano, konakele. Well done. Well done. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice, beautiful instrument. Once again, it just reminds us of the beauty of this country, how diverse we are, even in music as well as in culture. Kopano, for people who want to come through, how do they do that, and what is it that they can experience on the 15th of February?
Thank you, Edwin, and thanks, my sister. That was very beautiful. On the day, Ventersdorp, Mogopa is just about 20 km outside of the Ventersdorp, Mogopa. Just come through. Just come through. We will definitely be able to host you. And as far as the activities, I think we will honor through the leadership, the trust that is in place. We will be able to honor the departed, and also we'll be able to engage quite strongly, engagingly with the survival of the forced removals that are still with us, thanks to God. And also we will be able to be serenaded, with music. We've invited also traditional leaders, from the province as well, to come and share and reflect with us. But most importantly, we'll be joined by Bakwena Ba Mogopa, beneficiaries and the community in general. Not only from Mogopa, because Bakwena Ba Mogopa, they are quite broad. We've got many other villages across the Northwest Province. So we're looking forward to have that day reflect. But most importantly, Adrian, I think you've touched on something about music. Actually, Juluka actually supported our cause back then, raising funds so that we can be able to fight. And also maybe what I think is important to mention is that what the commemoration helps us to do is to ensure that we don't create or repeat the mistakes of the past, because we have seen how people from outside can come into the community, look at how divided you are, and use your divisions to actually entrench themselves and take control of what is yours. And these are the things that when we reflect, we can remind our people that beware. These are the kind of things that could actually happen, and then yes, especially for the young ones.
Yeah, Bakwena Ba Mogopa, all the best for you guys as you have this commemoration that will be taking place on the 15th of this month. Kopano More is author and also member of the 41st Commemoration Organizing Committee. Buyisiwe, Njoko, as well as Tebogo, Mkhize are part of the Sangla Experiment band. They will be performing on the day as well. Thank you once again for coming through. And all the best.